Thank you for staying with us.
Oh, my name.
Welcome back. Father Lord Almighty. People are just flying around me on live TV. Huh? Okay, let us start with the nation. I guess it happens, right? So we don't have physical papers. Obviously, the vendor didn't make it because of the rain. So when rain happens, you just have to go online. So let's get the paper for the headlines for the nation. Federal government, 712 billion naira upgrade will turn MMIA, that's the Murtala International Airport, into world class. Oyetola moves against frequent boat accidents. Anambra State as the 6th Southeast state. Tinubu hails female basketball team, the Tigers, for winning their 5th consecutive African title. First Hold Coke demonstrates resilience with robust half-year performance, grows gross earnings by 18.1% to 1.7 trillion naira. Okay, and there's Olubadan in council to declare Ibadan stool vacant today. Okay, which story?
Tigress. Congratulations to our
Congratulations.
It's a nice season, it's a good season.
Good season, 5th consecutive. So in 5 years, consecutively, they've reinforced now their position as winning team in Africa. This was done at in Côte d'Ivoire, I think. At this, sorry, if I quote the wrong place. So the president had tweeted on his, in Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire, they had an historic win. They achieved this at the Palais de Sport in Churchville, Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. And of course, the president tweeted saying he lauded the players, the technical crew for their superb performance and reaffirmed his unwavering support for the victorious squad. He said, "You did it, girls, at the Tigress, superb performance and to become the 5-time consecutive champions of Africa and 7th overall." And he said, "Well done, Coach Rena and the team. You have made Nigeria proud. I am expecting you all, along with the trophy, #Mission V, done and dusted." And then he signed PBAT, commending the ladies.
That's another $100,000 coming up.
No,
it doesn't matter.
They have not said that one.
It does not matter. If you give them, you give them.
But they have already worked. These ladies have worked. And, yes. It's not always comfortable in the countries that they travel to at the airport and some provisions.
The girls are making us proud, though.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, all the girls.
These women,
women
around the world. Well done to the Tigress. So
fantastic.
Let me not talk too much.
Okay, let me take the headline. This is our Minister of Aviation. Federal government saying 712 billion naira upgrade will turn the airport into a world-class airport. According to the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, and the Director of Federal Airport Authority, that is Mrs. Olubunmi Kuku, they were speaking at the weekend that the budget was approved at the last FEC. According to them, the upgrade will involve a complete overhaul of the Terminal 1 buildings of the airport inaugurated in 1979 and the redesign of the Terminal 2, which was inaugurated by Buhari's administration. They also hope to get more facelifts as the airports, the parking spaces, the hangars, the car parks, the roads, the international wing and facilities. According to it's the busiest airport in the country. Mrs. Kuku said that the transformative project is designed to elevate the MIA to global standards. She described the project as a future-focused initiative which will touch virtually every critical aspect of the airport administration. Keyamo admonished critics of the airport's terminal reconstruction to educate themselves on the global cost of building modern airports, because people obviously came for him that how can you spend 712 billion for renovation? He was not telling them that they should go to JFK. Now, JFK is currently being renovated at the cost of $17 billion. And I think this was Ajayi also tweeted this yesterday, but the point is that they are going to be investing using the Renewed Hope Fund initiative. So this is money being put together to achieve the president's agenda
I don't
for
understand
development.
the criticism of that.
Because it looks really bad.
The people that are traveling, when we were traveling, we go to one airport and then just shouting, Nigeria. And then they finally want to do the airport and we have
complaining. We shouldn't.
The problem I have, Nima, when we enter Nigeria, Nigerians start complaining that they have to line up. When they go abroad, they generally keep quiet while immigration is calling them. They don't say a word. But once they enter Nigeria, what's going on now? Why is the line taking long? I'm taking it, and I'm wondering, you've only been standing 5 minutes. And you're here shouting. Try it and go and do it in another country.
We don't have train in our house. I said, okay. So now they are finally doing it. Yesterday I was like, my husband, I said, why are they criticizing this thing? It's long overdue.
Okay, let's take another story.
Okay, so I have the story of the boat accident. They said the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, that's Adeboyega Oyetola, has said that there's ongoing reforms on how to improve the maritime safety and prevent frequent boat accidents with accompanying fatalities. He said this at a weekend, and he said there was a report from a special committee on prevention of boat accidents in the country. He said that the government is committed to making sure that the Nigerian waters are safe for users. He declared that the current spate of boat accidents was unacceptable and preventable. So he also says that he said that, and I quote, "The safety of our citizens on water is not just a policy responsibility; it is a moral duty. Every life lost in a boat mishap is one too many." So they are making sure that that all these things will stop happening, and they are also telling citizens that we should make sure that we use our life jackets. You know, I don't know why a lot of us don't like to use life jackets. I've noticed, and I've been on one, and you see they're begging you, use your life jacket. No, I don't like that. I don't like the way.
Sometimes they don't look good, but we buy our own. So he said they will be using a blend of policy enforcement, stakeholder cooperation, and behavioral change. That part, gangan, they emphasize.
Behavioral change.
So just buy your own. At the jetty,
if you're someone that uses it often,
all the time,
just have your own in the car. It's affordable.
You got a story to talk about? We got to go to a break. Let's go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Moving on now to The Punch. Major headline: 2027 tensions, APC kingmakers scrambled to quell the state-level uprising. 220 oil blocks abandoned amid debt and crude crisis. Striking doctors cripple Lautech hospital operations. Under fire, Keyamo defends the 712 billion naira airport revamp. Fuel imports surge to 71% as marketers ditch oil refineries. 2027, Obi's one-term presidency gambit sparks political firestorm. And Oyetola vows sweeping reforms to end both mishaps as committee submits the report. Talk about any story?
Yes, so I have the story of Lautech, the Association of Resident Doctors in Ladoke Akitola University of Technology in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, have gone on an indefinite strike. And the reason for the strike was because there are conditions that they've placed some demands, and those demands have not been met. They had gone on strike earlier in the year. In April, they suspended a one-month strike to give the management of the hospital time to meet their demands. They also had sent a letter to the state governor, but 3 months after they suspended their one-month strike, none of their demands had been met. So next thing was to say a letter on the 8th of July that we're giving you 3 weeks notice so that you would meet our demands before we go on strike. 3 weeks passed again. No demand being met. What are the demands so that Nigerians understand how realistic it is? They said pay new minimum wage with accrued arrears from January 2025. Disbursement of the medical residency training funds. Payment of accoutrement allowance. Recruitment of resident doctors across all departments. They said they've made deliberations to resolve this issue. They've engaged, they've sent letters. The demands are not unreasonable. They've sent messages to the Oyo State governor and the hospital management in a bid to encourage prompt response to resolving those issues, but they've noted that there's been a failure from the government and the management of the hospital's side to deal with the issue, and so they are going on indefinite strike. I just feel really bad whenever these things happen, because especially because these people have given enough notice. Have conversations with them at least to explain what you've done, what you are willing to do, how far you are willing to go. Just negotiate, because the strike does not affect majority of the leaders. It affects the average Nigerians that usually use these hospitals to get medical care.
Right.
So I have the 220 oil blocks. Of course, this Punch headline says that 220 oil blocks abandoned amid debt and crude crisis. And the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission released this data. In fact, It's only reading it that will help me capture it without emotions. So they said, despite our growing debt burden and crude shortages affecting our local refineries, the data that they have shows that the deep offshore terrain accounts for the highest number of unlicensed blocks at 59. And the country's, of course, underexploited energy wealth is in most of those areas. The Benue Trough follows with 41 open blocks, while the Chad Basin hosts 40 blocks. The Sokoto Basin hosts 28 blocks yet to be awarded. The Bida Basin has 16 blocks. And the offshore Niger Delta, often our backbone, the one that we like to focus on the most, still has about 7 open blocks. The Anambra Basin, 13 blocks, open blocks, while 8 each remain in the unlicensed Benin Basin and onshore Niger Delta. And this report, according to them, 24 blocks were recently awarded in 2022-2023 deep water mini bid around the 2024 licensing round. And on the strength of these records that they have, there's successes in exploration, development and production. The Commission says it's evidence that our Nigeria deep water terrain is hugely endowed with hydrocarbon resources, and we're not exploiting that enough. And so these are some of the things that we're blessed with. Most of our, where we are focused, we're only, using only a percentage of what God has blessed the country with, and we need employment, we need more resources. We cannot be arguing money, whether they borrow money with this kind of resources. We can be earning money with it.
Okay, let me take the story from Peter Obi. Peter Obi has said it over and again that he's only going to run for one term. For whatever reason, a lot of people are not believing him. So the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi has come under fire again from the rival, the Abure-led faction of the Labour Party and also APC, and also, interestingly, the governor of Anambra South, Soludo. So according to Obi, he said that his pledge to only serve for one term is sacrosanct. APC spokesperson said it's just theatrics. The Abure-led LP, I'm trying to get his specific words here. He was saying that, okay, so the APC spokesperson had described Obis' promise as insincere and ploy to woo voters, while the Abure-led dismissed it as political theatrics. However, interestingly, Anambra State Governor Professor Soludo had earlier cast doubt on claims of a one-term presidency. He said that he dismissed the one-term pledge, saying that any politician making such a promise should be sent for psychiatric evaluation. How can anybody with a functioning brain say that? Do you think we are speaking to fools? You come to people and say you only want to do one term. However, Peter Obi has repeatedly and has even recently said that, and he was taking references from Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, and Nelson Mandela, who were all leaders in their own right. They were leaders in the US and leader in South Africa, to justify his position that impactful leadership is not measured by longevity. Without naming names, he just said that these are people that have actually led very short terms and were quite impactful. So it's not about longevity. He is saying that his ability to stay for only one term is sacrosanct and he's not planning to do 2 terms. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay, so I have the story where they said marketers ditch local refineries. They said fresh data from the downstream regulator of the oil sector has revealed that marketers have resumed large-scale importation of refined petroleum products, choosing not to patronize local refineries. They said this. They say it indicates that marketers who are expected to access products locally with ease in the country are now spending the country's scarce foreign exchange to import refined petroleum products into the country. They said there was an analysis from FAC document, and it revealed that a combined total of 3.25 billion liters of petrol consumed during the 2 months, and 2.32 billion liters were imported. And Dangote has come out to say that that he has told the president to include refined petroleum products in the list of items banned under the Nigerian First policy of the federal government. And he said that the fuel importation into Nigeria is killing local refining and discouraging further investment in the sector and even the economy. He said to remain viable, he ordered governments across Africa to take deliberate steps, just like the way the United States and Canada and all of that they've done it, and they can see that those countries are doing well in terms of petrol and everything. So banning it is the best thing to do. I remember there was a time during our spice, this thing, when they banned the importation of curry and all of that. It really,
supported local production, and now they relaxed it again.
They relaxed it. We really sold that period because, in fact, it even became scarce, and they were calling us this time around. Unlike before, when we go to supply supermarkets, they would just tell us that, no, they have, But when this happens,
all right, yeah. So I have a story. Wait, Punch.
Yes, Punch.
Oh, I've taken a story.
Okay.
Punch.
Let's move on now to Vanguard. Major headline: silent killer, soaring drug costs, ignorance fueling hypertension and deaths. Unprecedented windfall as stock investors gain 25.7 trillion in 7 months. No zone in North marginalized by Tinubu, says Kaduna governor. Killings, Benue leaders seek EU and UK-US intervention. Afenifere to Southwest governors leverage on United Nations recognition to equip Amotekun. We are not borrowing for 712.3 billion Lagos Airport project, says Keyamo. Obi to Soludo, my 174-year vow is sacrosanct. And Ojulari's alleged exit, presidency's NPCL's silence heightens confusion. Which story are we taking in Vanguard? Anybody?
Okay, quickly. Should I take the Benue killing?
Great.
So the coalition of civil society groups, concerned professionals, religious leaders in Benue State, and their spokesperson being Gideon Iyoma, said that the state has suffered significant loss of lives and livelihood, and they are decrying the humanitarian crisis allegedly fueled by incessant armed attacks, which they said resulted in widespread displacement and mass casualties in Benue State. They cited the data from the Benue State Emergency Agency, which estimates about 6,000 people have died and more than 2 million residents have been displaced in the past 12 years. And as concerned daughters and sons of Benue State, they are compelled to draw the attention of the global community. They are now reaching out to the EU, the UN, and other bodies to intervene in this matter. So, and as well as the UK-US to intervene in the matter. They wrote particularly, as concerned sons and daughters of Benue State are compelled to draw the attention of the global community to the silent war being waged against our people. He said in the just first half of 2024, more than 200 people were killed in Guma, Logo, Kwande, Gwara West, and Agatu, and Akwa local government areas. And he pointed to the recent Yelwata, Guma local government areas killings that is plaguing the country. So just asking for recognition.
Any story?
Yes, I do have a story. The governor of Kaduna State visited the president, and after the closed-door meeting with the president, he came out and addressed the press saying that no part of the north is being marginalized. And he explained this. He said, based on facts and data, there is no part of the north that is being marginalized. He was responding to the allegations by Senator Rabiu Kwakwanso of the NNPP that more projects have been allocated to the south. And he said, look at the data, look at the facts. That's not the case. And he made a list of some of the things that are happening, especially with appointments, that many of the appointments have fairly shared. Minister of Defense, Minister for Defense States. He broke it down. If you want to know the project and how it is being shared, go and get Vanguard and read it. However, he highlighted that what he sees as a key issue in the north is lack of human capital development. He said that the governors of the north and politicians within the north should focus on these key areas. He said that they should focus on the core problem of the north, which is education and healthcare. Human capital development is very critical because at the end of the day, that's the best way to solve the region's real challenge. Healthcare, education, human capital development, not marginalization. That marginalization is not what the problem in the north is. The problem are those things, and I totally agree that focus should be placed on it.
Okay. Yeah. That's all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. Let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we move on to our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.